Hey, what's up, friends? Welcome to the stream. Usually do this on Tuesday, but I was traveling, so I want to offer something. This is a very important topic today. I think it's going to transform your relationship with the time and how you restore your leadership. Okay, for those just joining us, I'm Joe. Some call me Dr. Joe. And today we're diving into something that's going to be quite revolutionary in how you think about every single moment you have left to make a difference. We're talking about your QTR, your quality time remaining. This might be kind of a sober up little stream here today, but I see you. I see you, and I know what you're carrying. More than 50%, I just looked this stat up, of college leaders have considered just like backing out the back door, quitting due to burnout, increased workload. It's a capacity issue, right? There's just more to do than you can stuff in a day. Anybody relate? And all of that is just continuing to just be this deluge of stress and pressure. 76% actually feel supporting students' mental health has become a job expectation. So not only your stress, but also just being first responders to student stress, right? You're not just educators anymore. You're counselors, you're crisis managers, you're budget wizards this time of the year, and you're miracle workers with all of just the funky politics and the financial inequalities, perhaps, and maybe even the falling trust across your communities, all while trying to maintain your own sanity. Mhm. I remember Crazy Train. You're on crazy terrain, that is for sure. But here's what I know about you, that maybe you've forgotten. You didn't choose leadership for the easy path. You chose it because you believe in transformation. Remember that. You chose it because you see potential where others see problems, right? And today we're going to reclaim that vision through the most powerful reframe available. It's understanding your quality time remaining. Yes, the demands on campus leaders have been planets more challenging than I ever dealt with in my almost 30 years of serving inside the system. Yeah, I say I get it, but I don't think I can actually say that with a high degree of honesty, right? Because it's so different. You're dealing with mental health crisis, budget constraints, political pressures, generational shifts that would break lesser people. Can we be honest? But here's the truth. I need you to hear this truth. You should be the healthiest and the most interesting people on campus. Mhm. Your leadership demands that you be fully present. You're living the moments, not just surviving the minutes, folks. So lean in. What you're about to learn here could be a difference maker between burning out in exhaustion, just like the rest of the suspects out there, and burning bright with purpose. You see them out there, and perhaps you are that person, right? This is about reclaiming your QTR and leading from a place of vitality rather than depletion. Sobering reality. And then we're going to move this to a different soundtrack. Okay, let me just share some research that will probably wake you up, right? Give you a little shot of caffeine, the urgency of this moment because the stakes are crazy high. And you know they're high. The stats on campus leadership stress, it's alarming. 60% of faculty report issues such as stress and anxiety and depression, while 80% said they felt the same level or more stress than this time last year. So it is not even leveling off. It's trending upwards. But here's what it's even more devastating when you peel it back. The impact to this is having on your actual lifespan. Mhm. Your actual lifespan. Research reveals that emotional stress is a major contributing factor to the 6 leading causes of death in the United States. Okay? Emotional stress is a leading factor to cancer. What? coronary heart disease, accidental injuries, respiratory disorders, cirrhosis of the liver, and suicide. More sobering, even still, almost 200,000 people in the US die every year from some sort of stress related illness. But here's a tragedy. I think above all, it's not just early mortality that should be concerning us. It's how many people, and this hits really close to home, quit living while they're still alive, right? This is what I call non-quality time remaining. When you're just breathing but not truly living, right? When you're surviving but not thriving. When you're managing but not leading with passion. Yeah, this hits pretty close to home. So, with that in mind, I think there's really three stages that we jump into as we kind of move into that non-quality time remaining the F word funk, right? You get this just drain on your passion. You stop seeing possibilities and start seeing only the problems. Okay. You don't have to click on any media source these days, and all you hear is the problems. Right? Studies show that over 55% of college students experience some degree of academic burnout, with about 20% reporting severe burnout syndrome. But imagine the compounding effect when their leaders are already drained, those that they probably need to look at, model that way. But a demoralized leader creates a demoralized campus. And where do the students have to run to when they're already feeling it? So that passion drain definitely is interfering with our best days ahead. That the presence deficit is another big thing. You're physically there, and I can relate to this. For 20 years, this was just how I orbited, campus life. Yeah, physically there, but emotionally, I'm checked out. Research is really compelling here as well. 33%, nearly 186 million US adults perceive that stress affects their health significantly. But here's the killer stat: men with high stress versus low stress had higher all case cause mortality with a hazard ratio of 1.32. Your stress isn't just affecting your leadership, it's literally shortening your life. So, there's the impact of erosion as well. Your influence diminishes because your energy is depleted. Students can sense that, right? When their teachers, their faculty, their staff members, their leaders have lost their spark, right? I just have my job today. And maybe you're listening to this at home today because your campus is shut down because now we're on summer hours. Right, but students they've just noticed the increased signs of stress, and among their staff, their professors, with more than a third reporting having at least one current educator who appears just really disorganized, and stressed out, wigging out, just about managing the job, the job. So, leaders, this isn't just about time management; it's more about life management, right? When I say you should be the healthiest and most interesting person on the campus, in the classroom, in any room, I'm not being motivational, I'm being strategic. Your campus needs leaders who are absolutely alive, not just employed. I'm going to say that again. Your campus needs leaders who are alive, fully alive, abundantly alive, not just employed. I recently spoke to a college dean. This was a week ago. Said, cornered me and said, "Hey, Dr. Joe," it's what people call me when I'm on campus. I used to really get excited about Monday mornings. Now I dread them. Yeah. This is a brilliant leader. Had fallen into that non-quality time remaining thing and was just kind of counting the days. In fact, called the state retirement just a few months prior and just started to calculate, all right, how many more days do I have to do this? He was managing calendars instead of cultivating that vision, right? The mission, the values. was putting out fires instead of just igniting the passion that brought that person to this campus. After 20 years of service, basically forgotten why they became an educator in the first place. Can you relate? Anybody? Contrast this with Dr. Williams, bumped in, just an amazing 58-year-old campus president. I know who is embracing this QTR thing. 3 years ago, okay, instead of counting down to retirement, she started counting up her remaining impact opportunities. Right? She started to calculate that she had perhaps about 2,500 more days of active leadership. That number shocked her into action. Sometimes we just got to put it on the table, folks. Right? She started working out daily, important. Reading outside of her field, making her interesting, and taking sabbaticals, not just like the 6 month ones, but like long weekends to fully recharge, to renew her vision. Today, students describe her as the most energetic person on campus. That's a real thing. Her QTR, quality time remaining awareness, it didn't just extend her career. I think it transformed her entire leadership approach, and definitely her campus. Definitely her campus. So I need you to be brutally honest in the comments. Go ahead and just, if you're weighing in here today, how many days this week? You probably, I don't know, maybe you have a short week. You've got a short week next week. But how many days this past week did you feel truly alive, right? And present in your leadership? How many days? What percentage of your time is spent on activities that energize you versus absolutely just deplete you? Right? And if a student described you, let's get honest. If a student described your leadership energy, or woo, what would they say? What would they say? Drop your truth. Put it in the comments, and let's engage around some of this stuff and be honest. Okay. I want to talk about some strategies. So one, just we got to reclaim your vitality. Let's dive into this first game-changing strategy specifically for campus leaders: reclaiming your vitality. This is about reorganizing your health and your energy. They're not luxuries, okay? They're prerequisites for the job that you get to do, right? For effective leadership. When you understand that you're QTR, you realize that neglecting your vitality is actually neglecting your mission. Right? You got to understand quality time remaining to put it on the table. Here's how to reclaim. Maybe that mindset. Isn't that such a powerful thing? We got to reclaim the mindset, reclaim it. That do a leadership longevity audit. Calculate your remaining leadership years. You know, if you're 45 and plan to lead until you're 65, um, yeah, it's roughly 7,300 days of active leadership left that you have. Some might say, whew, that's a lot. But others might go, wow, the clock is and it's ticking. It's not overwhelming. I think it's just clarifying how important that is. You know, each day of poor health steals from that total impact of potential. Um, yeah, the other thing you might want to do is just that energy investment portfolio, just like you do with your financials, maybe every quarter, right? Allocate your energy across categories: 40% higher impact in your leadership activities, 25% personal renewal and health, and 20% deep relationship and mentoring. And how about this? 15% learning and growing, right? Your QTR demands better choices. So look at it like an investment portfolio. Okay. And the other key piece here, if you look at your presence, just your presence, and how to effectively work out a presence multiplication principle, like when you're truly present, like in the moment, physically healthy, mentally sharp, emotionally available to others, your leadership impact, your influence just goes way up, right? It multiplies exponentially. One fully present conversation can accomplish what maybe 10 emails might not, right? Students want to make more meaningful connections. In fact, I was sharing this with the college president the other day. It's no longer about content. It really isn't. Nobody has, oh my goodness, we've got this amazing program, because information is ubiquitous. It's just everywhere. If you want better information, you can just get it at a click. What students are looking for is access, like presence, right? And expertise. Somebody that can actually, tell a story around that information to contextualize it. So how are you being fully present to keep your demand up, right? And your profitability high? Because that's a real thing, friends. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? The research is really, really clear, right? Healthcare workers, that's healthcare and education. Hear this and fact check it. uh, those two sectors, healthcare and education, have some of the yeah, unhealthiest people working in them. Isn't that crazy? Why is that? You 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 can't build yourself from an empty cup, right? High stress, high burnout. Uh, those rates are crazy high in both of those sectors, right? Patient care is hindered. Student care is hindered when we're not dealing effectively with that, when we're not really taking seriously our own health. So depleted leaders, they create depleted campuses, and we don't need any more of those out there, folks. They're closing. What did I hear the other day? One campus a day, gone, gone. How are we going to stay in demand? You got to stay healthy, right? Got to stay healthy. So here's what science tells us: that high stress, it's related to, almost 2.6% higher risk of heart disease mortality for younger men. Okay, this means that stress you're experiencing now as a campus leader could be setting you up for health crisis during your peak. Think of when your peak is coming. Usually you're masterful in your 50s, and your best time for mentoring is in your 60s, right? Your QTR actually demands intervention ahora, right now. Get after it, right? So put your comments in the feed here. Yeah, what would change if you treated your health as seriously as your budget? Think about that. How often are you looking at your financials? You know, hopefully within this last month you haven't been peeking at it, because it's been on friggin' life support. But how often are you looking at that and analyzing that and figuring out where you're going to get your best return? And yeah, translate that to how often are you looking at your own health, some of your own numbers, right? Um, and how would your leadership style change if you had unlimited energy and mental clarity? It is possible, folks. It is possible. I honestly, I met with a provost from San Francisco Bay University. Go! I don't know what their mascot is. Otherwise, I'd give them a hoorah. Uh, but this guy I couldn't hang out with. I pride myself in being the healthiest person in the engagement, but this guy just like canceled me. Dr. Fuster, this one's for you, dude. Seriously, you are the standard. The standard. If you know him, you know him. If you don't, you should. Right. So let's talk about another strategy. Living moments, not just minutes. Yeah, that sounds so cute, doesn't it? It's the difference between campus leaders who endure their days and those who savor their impact. Right? When you understand your QTR and realize that presence isn't just being nice, right? It's necessary for maximum influence. How do you do it? Think about moments and how you magnify through different methods. Instead of rushing through interactions, pause and ask, hey, given my limited QTR with this person, how can I make this moment count? Say it prior to the engagement actually happening. I tell leaders, look at the clock and on the 58s, not on when the meeting starts, on the 58, start thinking about that person and ask yourself, how can I make these minutes that I'm fortunate to have with this person truly count. Yeah. Yeah, your presence in their moment might be exactly what they need to shift their trajectory, right? Model the way, boss. Let's talk about the legacy. Just that the conversation detector and how that can be something that builds your legacy of success. Identify moments that have just that legacy potential. We can all think about maybe a word or a phrase or a moment that changed our lives coming from a mentor or maybe just some random person that we bumped into, right? That struggling student who stays after class, that frustrated colleague who needs some encouragement, maybe that board meeting where the vision gets cast. These aren't interruptions to your schedule. They're the point of your schedule, right? The moments of your QTR is measured in these moments, probably not in the emails that you have to answer the next or the night after, right? So, yeah, having that perspective to be intentional in that. And this sensory thing, right? Being fully present, it is a thing. Engaging all of your senses. I love this time of the year and being able to go outside and walk campus. Right? Um, I refuse to do the, "Hey, let's, sit down and have coffee, and let's talk about this, that, and the other thing." I'm like, "Nah, let's get up and get moving and show me a few things that you got going on campus." I love walking campuses these days and just having my senses just blowing up, right? Noticing the energy across campus and maybe in the meetings that are happening in other rooms and listening not for words, but the emotions behind all of that energy. Right? You see the potential in difficult situations, right? When your senses are engaged, your influence actually multiplies because people feel felt. That's a real thing. People feel felt, right? When your senses are high. When your senses are high. So, how do you do this? I learned this lesson the hard way. Early in my career, I absolutely, can I say sucked? I don't know if that gets like edited out, but yeah, I was so focused on being productive, just win, 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 head down, plow through it, that I miss being present for at least 20 years, 2 decades worth. I had conversations with team members, uh, oftentimes was clearly struggling, right? But I was just mentally planning my next meeting or my next move. Anybody relate to that? In this case, about 6 months later, I had amazing talent. This person walked out the back door. Um, and I realized they're leaving me. Gulp. Your best people are leaving bad bosses and bad cultures that don't stay present, right? I was checking the boxes. I'm managing time instead of living in those moments that could have changed everything. So think about the campus leader who schedules, and I've seen him. I ask, I do an audit. I say, all right, everybody, turn your laptops around, put your calendar on. Let me see back to back to back to back to back to back. Everybody's back to back to back to back to back. Uh, Usually 7:30, all the way until about 7:30. Right? They pride themselves, and we do this on efficiency, but students, faculty, staff describe interactions with them as just everybody's rushing, right? Hurry up. And a lot of times wait because we're so not planful. We're busy people that have forgotten to be brilliant. Isn't that so true? I think that is everybody's looking to hang a fancy banner. That's a truth banner across most campuses. Here lies a lot of busy people that used to be brilliant, right? Over 5 years, this leader processed thousands of minutes, but created very few meaningful moments that I just bumped into. Legacy becomes one of those busyness things rather than overall impact. So here's the sobering reality: about 20% of students seek help for mental health. Okay. And 35% are aware of mental health resources available to their campuses. This means 80% of struggling students are suffering in silence, and your presence in the right moment could be the difference between their success and their student number disappearing from your log, right? Your QTR includes their QTR. Yes. Isn't it so powerful? I got another powerful thing for you. Just a little commercial break here. I want you to get ready for something revolutionary. It's coming this June. Okay. I'm calling it TQ. TQ. Hmm. You've heard of IQ. You've heard of EQ. Maybe you like DQ. Yeah, this is TQ, team intelligence. It's a team intelligence assessment. I think it's going to be the game changer you've been waiting for. So here's the truth that it's about to shake up campus leadership, I think, forever. Right? Your team isn't underperforming because of lack of talent. You've got loads of talent. It's because you haven't unlocked them. You haven't accelerated the team performance when 1 + 1 should equal like 5 instead of, I don't want to get together with that person anymore. After analyzing, this has been years worth of work, about 1,000 leadership teams across educational institutions, both K-12 and higher ed. We've discovered that most campuses are operating at 60%, a little less than 60% of their potential capacity. But here's the breakthrough. Teams that develop team TQ, this TQ thing, team intelligence, they outperform others by a margin of 2-1 on key performance indicators such as communication, team connection, team alignment, team capacity, and overall just straight up education execution. They're getting it done, right? And this June, early June, we're releasing our TQ Team Intelligence Assessment. It's going to be a revolutionary. It's only a 5-minute tool. Boss, if you're the boss, you send it out to your team. Okay. It's going to transform how your leadership team operates. We're talking about 40% faster problem resolution, 27% higher team satisfaction and retention. Anybody struggling with that? 35% more strategic objectives. Actually, one college president who've been working with some of the methodology said that this TQ thing, it transformed us from a collection of talented individuals into a truly, he said, synergistic team. Right? The impact on student outcomes has been remarkable. Those gaps that they were just vexed by a couple of years ago are starting to occlude, folks. Your team has that level of potency to close gaps. So don't lessen the impact on how important that is. Like unlike traditional assessments that focus on individual self-awareness, there's a lot of them out there, and I'm not hating on any of them. They're all wrong. Yeah, they're all wrong. All the self-awareness tools, they're all wrong. Some are just a little more helpful, right? I think TQ it gives you social language. That's what you need. You need to understand not who you are. Do that on your own time. But for teams, you got to understand who they are, right? 34 strengths. I'm not quite sure unless you, and this happens, embroider that on your Friday, right? Fun shirt. Yeah, let's get real. Let's get real. Your teams, your people need desperately to collaborate at highest levels. It's not just another personality test. This is the missing link, actually, between individual brilliance and that collective excellence, where 80% of your most important decisions are made. So campus leaders, this assessment is going to be an absolute game changer. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the big reveal. So if you want to check it out, we've written actually a little bit of research around this. You can find that updating the page today, but it should be ready to go very, very soon. You can go to higherperformancegroup.com today to be among the first to just experience what is this TQ thing all about, and how could we be part of this movement? So, all right, back to our task here. The third strategies, becoming the most interesting person on campus. That is something that I would say is an intentionality. It's not about ego. Hey, look at me. I'm evoking attention. It's about influence. right? You think about the classes that you took in junior high, middle school, high school. We usually took teachers, right? When outside of the requireds, when you had the chance to take elective courses, we elected teachers, right? I'm not wrong, right? We took teachers, not just classes, right? When you understand your QTR, you realize that interesting leaders, interesting teachers, interesting faculties create interested students, right? And interested students become engaged learners. We know that, who transform the world. So here's how to cultivate QTR. A QTR driven person, right, has a commitment to their own renewal. Think about just 5% of your quality time remaining to learning outside of your expertise. Cracking a book that I've always been interested in this, but never really dug into it. And I'm novice, even though you might have a fancy title in front of your name. Okay. Because stress levels among college students have increased loads, 30%, some say, over the past 3 decades. Your fresh perspectives and renewed curiosity, isn't that what it's all about? It can model resilience and a growth mindset to many people that are just like victimized, right? And really, really struggling and who desperately need some hope. And I think curiosity is the elixir for people that are taken out. Become curious in them again. Become curious in something that they might want to also join you on that journey, right? Here's another one: the story of collection practice. Right? Just start to gather stories of transformation, innovation, possibility. Start to gather those stories. Students are drowning, right, in bad news. They just 3 clicks away is, ugh, are you kidding me? What's going on in the world? All the stress statistics, but gather stories of transformation, innovation. Your role is to become a curator of hope and possibility. That is your role, right? Yes, the facts are important, but who's holding the language of hope across your culture, campus culture, right? When you're constantly learning and growing, you got stories. You've got stories to share that might gather a crowd to inspire rather than deplete others. There's plenty of depletion going on. And think about just your passion and how can you create a passion project, right? Pursue something that lights you up outside of your official duties. Maybe it's photography and just jumping back into that hobby, or cooking or writing, and all of these things might create connection points, right? Maybe it's community service where you go serve somebody. In some cases, I say it this way, don't be offended. Go serve somebody that might not really deserve it. I'm speaking to myself because sometimes I see the lost and the least and go, come on, bootstrap yourself. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I need to mature from adult that thinks like that to actually a grown up that says, hey, perhaps this person just needs a little hand up, right? I think academic burnout, it's a big problem for many college students. Uh, uh, Majority of students are just feeling overwhelmed. So your visible passion for something beyond your work model in life, it might be just living fully and just being that spark on campus, right? Let them know that you're not just enduring this year with them professionally, right? But you're learning, you're staying curious, you're fully alive. Friends, your students and faculty they're watching you for signs of life. And that might leak a little bit. They might catch it, right? They need to see that it's possible to be engaged, to be curious, to be passionate, even in challenging circumstances. That cute quality time remaining, QTR, it's not just about your remaining time, it's about modeling what it looks like to be fully alive during that time. So let's push your thinking into the comments. Go ahead, light it up. What would you pursue if you knew it would make you more effective in your current role? If you had the budget of time to do it, just think for a minute. What would you like to pursue again? Or what would you like to pursue for the first time? Right? How has your curiosity and learning changed over the past 5 years? Has it gotten greater or has it gotten pretty closed down? Share any breakthrough thoughts. Let's get real. So, we're coming in for a close here, folks, but I want you to take a moment and just really absorb. Think about what we've covered. You're not just surviving your role, you are actually stewarding the role. One of the most important positions in society. Okay. That ought to keep you up awake at night. I'm sure many of you are tossing and turning, but just the sheer gravitas of the privilege of your role. Right? You shape minds, you influence futures. I've heard one of my favorite campus presidents say, "I'm changing family trees." Wow. And creating new leaders for tomorrow. Maybe the world doesn't need any more leaders, perhaps. Just thinking out loud, maybe we need more of the right kind of leaders because we have enough stressed out, burned out, depleted leaders out there. But perhaps you can help build some of the right kind of stable, hope-filled leaders that are operating out a core of love, right? Which is not a squishy word; it's a fighting word. Leaders that are showing up to fight for the greatest good of the other as other on campus. But here's what I really need you to understand: your effectiveness it's not separate from your vitality. Your impact isn't separate from your presence. Okay, your influence isn't separate from your interest in life itself. Right? The tragedy of non-quality time remaining isn't just personal. I think it's institutional, right? When as campus leaders, um, you stop truly living, your campus is truly, you got to ask, is it thriving anymore? When leaders lose their spark, students lose hope. When administrators become depleted, education becomes transactional. We've all seen that instead of transformational. And transactional, it's got a bit of a smell to it, doesn't it? And it doesn't work anymore because there's way too much competition out there these days. But here's the breakthrough. If you understand your QTR, it doesn't just extend your life, it intensifies your leadership. Think of that person that when they walk on campus, the whole world just seems to be somewhat in harmony, right? When you know your time is limited, you stop tolerating average mediocrity in yourself and others, and you influence people to step above that noise. We see it everywhere. It's just so common, so average for people to just be just kind of shuffling around. Right? You start having conversations that matter. You start making decisions that align with your deepest values, right? So here's an action plan. Been yapping a lot here and I'm going to shut up here in a minute. But here's your action plan. So think about your non-negotiables. Identify 3 health practices that are non-negotiables for your remaining QTR. The research shows that annual healthcare, we spend so much money, bajillions. That's beyond billions, just so you know, right? Your health isn't personal, it's professional stewardship. So, identify 3 health practices, and you might want to break them down. What I'm eating or drinking, is it bringing me energy? Okay? Am I moving around enough? When you're tired, actually get out and move. It's counter thought. It's conflicting, isn't it? Oh, I feel tired. I should take a nap. No, you should actually get up and move around, right? Get some steps in. Go throw some weights around, right? And get some sleep, right? It's not a badge of honor anymore to go, oh, I got 4 hours of sleep last night. Well, that's on you. That's on you. So that's part of your action plan. The other one, Choose choose some daily interactions, maybe just one, where you'll practice full presence, like I'm right there, right? I say when you have a conversation, look in the person's eyes. It feels creepy when you're doing it, but on the other side of that, people feel and sense that for you. Like, no, 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 you're really for me. So speak to their eyes. Speak to their eyes. How important that is. Okay. So pick one daily interaction and go, this is the one. I'm going to speak to the eyes. I'm going to stay fully engaged. I'm going to be clarifying questions and I'm going to push. I'm actually going to pull from that person more than I'm going to push any of my agenda. Yeah. And the last action plan, commit to one learning or growth activity that has nothing, nothing to do with your job. I struggle with this thing because I want to sharpen the saw every single day. My reading is so technical. Um, so I'm taking some of my own medicine here, but read something, okay? Um, where you're going to grow and stretch, and it has nothing to do perhaps with the bottom line of your job, right? It has everything to do with your aliveness and your abundance. Friends, the truth here, it's powerfully simple. Your quality time remaining isn't just about you. It's about every life you touch with your remaining days of leadership, making them count, right? So don't just watch this and take nod or agree to it. We do that way too much. We sit in, keynotes and workshops and conferences and we just like, yeah, I agree. I agree. We take notes. Don't just agree, take action, right? Type QTR leader in the comments right now and commit to implementing at least one quality time remaining strategy for 1 week. Don't make this silly and think it's going to, change your life. Just do it for a week. Okay. You're going to cross the river. You're going to look for the first stepping stone. So this is that 1 week stepping stone. Okay. Share which strategy resonates most with your current leadership challenges. Go ahead and share it right now, right there in the comments. Share it right now. Remember, today, it's not just another day in your career, it's one of your limited days to shape the future through your influence. So, your campus doesn't need perfect leaders. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, nor are we on the trajectory to perfectionism, right? It just requires that you be more alive today than you were yesterday, more alive tomorrow than where you were today. Leaders who are present, engaged, passionate about the difference they're making. Yeah, they show up differently, don't they? Yeah, the stats, they show the campus leaders are burning out at alarming rates. Push against that. But you can be different, okay? By doing different things or doing things differently, you can be the leader who demonstrates that high impact and personal vitality aren't mutually exclusive. Okay? Work and life, they don't have a like campus is shut down today, so I can go have life. No, go have life while you're on campus, right? You can be the leader who shows that stress and passion can coexist, bumper sticker that. Mhm. When you understand quality time remaining. Friends, I believe in you. Your campus needs you, and your remaining time demands that you lead, not just with your mind, but with the wholeness of your life. So until next time, this is Dr. Joe reminding you that your QTR, your quality time remaining, isn't just ticking away, it's your invitation to lead with unprecedented impact.